drop, but what were you bringing?
44 and a 40 liter.
Yep. And then I had a 22-liter ultralight Sea to Summit pack that we would just compile everything each of us needed in the day pack into the single pack, and then we just passed it back and forth. Whoever was feeling stronger grabbed the pack, and it ended up being a nice balance.
Terrific.
Yeah. And that pack weighed like nothing. Yeah. It was really cool.
Those are lots smaller than I would have guessed. But yeah, smaller packs than I would have anticipated, but that's cool. And it makes sense. You want to bring only what you need. It's a long time out there, what you guys are going out there to do. So let's just get right to the trail. So day one, you started at 10:15 a.m. out in the Seward Range. And you started with Seward, which actually, when I read this, I was curious why you chose Seward to start with as opposed to Donaldson. So you went up a different direction and then came back down and then out to Seymour. What was the reasoning for that? But just take us through the day. Start with day one.
Yeah, it was actually really funny because as organized as Katie and I were, we each thought we were going a different way at the Seward Range. It was awesome. We get a mile in where, or not even a mile in, but, I thought we were going to full pack up to Donaldson and do the range that way. And Katie thought we were going into drop full pack and do day pack over the range. So we decided when, we understood that we had a little miscommunication there, that we wanted more miles, and with that being understood, we were going to have more miles without full packs on. And in 2016, that's how I did it. I just full packed in past the Blueberry Lean-To, and then I dropped my full pack at the trailhead for the Sewards and went up with a day pack. And, I definitely questioned it as we were going up Seward. I was like, I don't know if this is going to pay off. But when we were coming off that range, we still felt really fresh. We felt amazing at the end of day one. And I know some of that is like hiking without a lot of weight on your back. And, so we actually made the call that day after doing that. We were going to do the Santanoni Range the same way because we had thought that we were going to full pack up to Times Square and then do day packs for Panther and Cooch and then full pack up Santanoni and then down the Express. But, when you're considering all the weight and the strain on your joints, we just made the call for more miles with day packs. And that's how we decided day one. And so we started at 10:15, came in. It was humid that day. We're both chomping at the bit, just wanting to get up Seward, and just had to step back and take our time. But we made good time on the range, came off, got our full packs, went on to Seymour. And, Seymour, we were up there, got down before it was dark, got our headlamps on, and then we just full packed from there to Duck Hole. And we stayed the night at Duck Hole, and it was awesome. We had a lean-to all to ourselves, and we felt pretty fresh.
And that was great. Really neat for me too, because like I mentioned, I had hiked the Northville Placid Trail northbound with my husband and some friends 3 weeks, I believe, before our attempt. And we stayed at the same lean-to on our last night. Mm-hmm. So that was a really fun, come back around, laying in the same spot in the same lean-to that I had been in a few weeks earlier for a separate trip. So that was kind of a fun, comforting moment.
Sure. And a separate trip, but also another thru hike. And the biggest thru hike you can do in the high peaks, and the Northville Placid Trail being probably the second biggest thru hike. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So you had a good night at Duck Hole. You guys felt strong. As you said, you felt good. Waking up day 2, take us through it. So day 2, you had the Santanoni Range and Allen in one day. So how were you feeling when you woke up in the morning?
Oh my gosh, like
$1,000,000. That's great.
Day 2 was my day.
Yeah. Katie was on fire.
I was on fire day 2. Yeah, I don't know what it was about day 2, but I was on cloud 9 all day. Unfortunately, we did have a little bit of restless sleep the night before. In particular, Bethany didn't really get much, if any, rest the night of day 1.
No, I didn't know Tailwind had caffeine in it. I didn't look that close at the label, and that was a new thing for me on trail. So I had a lot of caffeine without really knowing I had caffeine, and yeah, I did not sleep that night.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, but in the end, it was pretty funny. Like, it wasn't waking up day 2. I'm like, oh my God, that was a rookie mistake right there. And I'm not a rookie, but it was hilarious because the mountains always find a way to humble you.
Big time.
And it was like a super humbling moment. But I worried about it, how I was going to like bonk later on in the day, but I just kept drinking Tailwind.
Yeah, just more caffeine.
Yeah.
Turns out is the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't end up being an issue for us, which was really great. And so we started off from Duck Hole, headed up Panther. We dropped our packs at the full packs at the base, grabbed our day packs, headed up Panther. Panther was absolutely amazing. The sun had risen at our backs as we ascended, and when we turned around and came back down towards the shoulder of Panther, we got just an absolutely incredible view, like just move you kind of view, where the clouds had just sunk and the tips of the peaks all around us were just popping out from the clouds, and you just felt like you were standing with the gods. It was a really incredible moment. So that was kind of just an uplifting way to start the day. And then from there, we headed down to Times Square, out towards Cuxakraga, which I think for both of us is a great peak. I mean, I think we both have a special place for Cuxakraga in our heart, but a lot of people aren't really fans of it, but I find it to be, a pretty nice kind of rolling terrain. So that wasn't an issue for us. We were out and back in no time flat. Then out to Santanoni, back to the square and back down, and we were feeling super, super strong at this point. So just kind of cruising on that feeling. We grabbed our packs and we started the long walk over to Allen. And we were cruising. I mean, we were doing probably at least 3.5 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour through that section, just really feeling good, feeling strong, cruising across. We got on the road, did the road walk section in just beautiful sunshine, blue skies, on top of the world, cruised into Allen. And then, Allen is a super special peak. I don't know what it is about those woods and about that mountain in particular, but there's definitely something really special about that area. And, we both felt that as we entered, and, we kind of slowed down a little and got kind of quiet and just enjoyed the approach. Headed up the slide, and, there's that last kind of gnarly scramble, that steep scramble up to the summit there. And we made pretty quick work of that. Grabbed the summit, turned around, and bam, there's the sunset. Just absolutely gorgeous. Just kind of like speaking to us, it was definitely a very spiritual experience on Allen that we had. And we kind of felt like, this is the mountains telling us we're where we're supposed to be right now, so
Sure.
it was just a really beautiful, like, spiritual experience that day, especially our time on Allen. And then, the sun set, we got down off the slide safely before it got too dark, and we just made our way out and up to camp a few miles south of the Floodlands. And it was just a nice kind of easy walk out. So that was a super enjoyable day.
Yep.
Very cool. And what were you guys wearing on your feet? So you said you felt great, just because a lot of people like to know what type of shoes were you guys wearing out there?
So I wear the Ultra Lone Peaks. I am a zero drop fanatic. Once you go zero drop, you can't really go back, unfortunately. So the Lone Peaks are definitely my go-to hiking shoe. The tread does wear down pretty quickly. But so I do have to switch them out pretty frequently. I started a brand new pair at the start of our 46 through, and they are now retired. So
Right.
Yeah.
You made quick work of them. Of course, they did quite a few miles, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And I use La Sportiva Raptors. And I like them they have a thick sole. They're a heavy shoe, but I think they're perfect for the high peak terrain. And yeah, they fit my foot really well. And they get chewed up pretty quick, but no blisters. We had good foot care the whole time, and my feet feel great.
Yeah, I think we had one blister between us.
Yep.
The entire trip.
Yep.
That is quite the statistic. That might be the most impressive statistic of the whole through hike, is just one blister amongst
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
We weren't expecting that for sure.
No, harden your feet before you do this. Like, I go barefoot a lot, and I have very thick calluses.
Great. So you guys finished the day 2. You had a nice sunset up on Allen to finish the day. You felt great. You guys camped near flowed lands and in that general area. So day 3, you have a pretty big day ahead of you. So take us through day 3.
Yeah. So day 3, I love. Katie was. I later learned about Katie's I knew this about Katie. She's stoic. She is very optimistic in the moment. I later found out that she was pretty intimidated by day 3, which is a big day. I call it the Lojo Loop, and you're coming in kind of the back door of the high peaks. We had to break down one camp, and then we had to set up a camp for us to come back into, and then switch to day packs. So by the time we had established camp, it's 7 a.m. We have our day packs on, and then we're headed up Marshall. And Marshall was our first peak, and then we went from Marshall over to Iroquois. And then the MAC range falls pretty quickly. You get Iroquois, Algonquin, Wright. Coming off Wright, feeling pretty good. It's also a beautiful day. It's Saturday at this point, and it's just a bluebird classic, beautiful fall day. And we go through the lodge. It's kind of weird seeing a lot of people and a lot of cars, but we push through to Street and Nye. And before we hit Street and Nye, we did some lunch. We set up the stove. We took our shoes off. We did foot care every day. So we just took time to get our socks and our shoes off, get them drying in the sun. But to this point, we had pretty dry feet as well. The trails were in great condition. And so we get Nye first and then make our way over to Street. And then, we're coming back down through the lodge area, and, you've already had a big day. You've already had, we had 6 mountains at that point. And you still need 3 more, and they're pretty big ones. And we went up Phelps, and on the summit of Phelps, we just got another stunning sunset. It was brilliant. It was beautiful. And coming down Phelps, it gets dark, and the reality hits you that you're still pretty far from camp, and you still have 2 summits to do. And we did tabletop, and then we stopped near Indian Falls, and we just needed more food, more water. We were pushing ourselves. You want to get to camp, you want to get to your tent and get to bed. And but you still have to stop, you still have to drink, you still have to eat, and